Hello everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. We've had some pretty explosive movement here in Bitcoin, making a new low. And with this new low, it may have invalidated one of the counts that we've been observing. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to focus mainly on the medium turn time frame and the smaller turn time frame. But before we jump into it, if we can get this video to 50 likes, I'll choose the most commented altcoin to include in next week's Bitcoin stream. So, like, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and leave a comment on the altcoin that you would like to see from an Elliott wave perspective in the next stream. So, as you know, we've been following a roadmap just to keep us grounded. It's all been based off of basically 3 counts. Monitoring this as a super bullish wave 1, or a moderate wave 3, or a potential C. Now, we weren't really putting too much weight on the C wave. It was just for directional confluence. What I mean by directional confluence is that after an impulse, the impulse could be a 1 or an A. Then after a 3-wave correction, that 3-wave correction could be a 2 or that corresponding wave 1, or it could be a B or the corresponding A. So after both of these, we expect either a push up for a 3 or a push up for a C. So it just provided us a lot of directional confluence on this push up, which is something that we expected. Now moving forward, we have basically gone beyond the timing of completion or the prior correction. And this signifies that potentially we are not in this super bullish count that we've been observing. To explain this a little more clearly, I'm going to go ahead and bring up that count. So it's basically our 1-2-1-2 scenario, where this is a minor degree and this is a minute degree. A smaller degree, meaning this smaller degree needs to be less in time than the larger degree. And as you see, we're going beyond that point. Although it is just about a few days, about 2 to 3 days, we've gone beyond it, which signifies that this is potentially not the count that we're looking for, and it may not be valid anymore. I truly can't discount it yet, because we still could be impulsing up for 1 into a 2 and all the way up for 3. We do have to provide at least some small margin of error. Once again, it's only a small time difference here that we're looking at and observing. So I'm not going to just completely invalidate this, but I'm definitely putting this more on the back burner. Meaning we're going to be focusing more on this count, which is the one that we've been observing all along anyways. The one where this is a 1 into a 2 into a wave 3. So we're going to keep following expectations like this. Now, let's go ahead and jump into the medium turn time frame here. There's a few ways that I'm seeing this structure right now. I'm going to go ahead and actually start with the bearish alternative. There is potential that we are in a diagonal. We're in a contracting structure that continues to develop in 3-wave moves. This was 3 waves. This was 3 waves. This was 3 waves, and so forth. So maybe that was a C pivot up here. Maybe this was an actual pivot, and we're actually in a wave 1. Or it's as we've been expecting all along. This is just a wave 3. It's not a wave C. And this is just a pullback. Potentially for a triple zigzag complex correction. So the question really is pivot or pullback? Timing wise, let's go ahead and just bring up our Elliott wave timing indicator. Let's focus more on the minor degree, because that's pretty much what we're expecting for right now. So typically, for a minor degree, we want it to be at least at this point. We've gone well beyond that. This is just a minimum base. What we'd like to see is it end somewhere around this area, the average zone. This is the lesser average, and this is the higher average. We'd like to see it gravitate somewhere towards this area in the middle. So we're going to look for pretty much exactly that. We're looking for the structure for a minor degree to end somewhere around this area right here from a time perspective. Pretty much right there. And it falls in line with exactly what we're expecting from a structure perspective. So this is something to be aware of. It can't be full-on bearish yet, but the thing is this still provides us wave degree confluence with the other counts. Because after this is completed, we expect minimally a 3-wave move. It could turn into a wave 3, but minimally it's a wave C. Once again, there's that directional confluence. It's either an A or a 1, and then a B or a 2, and then a C or a 3 if it really, really pushes up. That's pretty much how we'll be moving forward. We're now building a new roadmap. The old roadmap, it worked for us until a lot more considerable price action has occurred. Now we need to start building a new roadmap, which is what we're doing right now. So when I mean directional confluence, what I mean by this is that we're expecting to take this high, right? So at a minimum, we're expecting to take this high. Then we're expecting a 3-wave correction. And then after that, we're expecting a pivot back up into the range. So with our other counts, it's pretty much the exact same thing. We're expecting to minimally take this high. We'd like to take this one, but minimally take this high. Then we come down in an A, then a B, and then a C. And then we start moving up. Either for a 1 or a 2, or for the other counts. Could be an A or a B. So we've got wave degree directional confluence. This means the underlying trends, they're aligning. The underlying trends are aligning. It's a matter of once they have aligned and they've been fully realized, the higher time frame trends need to make a decision. So minimally, we already know what to expect here. The difficult part is really, do we take this low right here or do we leave it? This is a 3-wave move right here for W. And that's the end of the W. That's the termination of the W right there. Now we have an internal flat forming right now. With complex structures like this and internal flats, sometimes this internal flat may create the unorthodox bottom. Just like with a flat after a wave 5. So let's say that this is a wave 5 right here. Then we get an A wave. Then we get a B wave flat, or B wave of the flat, and then we get a push down for the C wave of the flat. The actual end of the move was right here, but it was an unorthodox top because it made a new top. Same with this, it's an unorthodox bottom. The end of the move was actually right here, but that internal flat made an unorthodox bottom, just like how it can make an unorthodox top. So there's potential that this really could be truly a complex correction, meaning we leave this low protected. And minimally, the only thing we need to do is just take the low of the W. That's all the Y wave needs to do from an Elliott wave perspective. So, moderately, we'll expect a 3-wave move just to reclaim this low. But if it really pushes down, impulsively taking and reclaiming this low without doing a 3-way bounce, then we know we're probably going to be looking for that deep retracement to the 0.5. That's another thing. We've already hit the normal wave 4 targets, which is right here, the 3414 and the 382. We've already hit these targets. So it leads more weight that this flow was enough. And we just have to create another 3-way move for Y before moving back up. So it's either that, or we can expect a extreme pullback to the 0.5, which also has a good narrative to it too. Why? Because the prior correction, this wave 2 right here, was only about 0.236. So, guideline of alternation from a strength perspective tells us that if this is a shallow correction, wave 4 should be a sharp correction. So if wave 2 is shallow, it's likely for wave 4 to even come down to this area for a sharp correction. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. It's a pretty complex correction, which leads more weight and credibility to it being a wave 4. There is alternatives though. Once again, it's a complex correction. So we still could have this low being protective from another perspective, such as a triangle, a WXY triangle. This is still extremely valid as well. And it would have a nice time relationship if we compared the W with the timing of the proposed Y. Very, very nice time relationship. So for right now, we'll need to wait for this internal X wave to be completed. I'm just going to clean this up a little bit. Okay. Let's go down to the hourly. Let's take a look at the hourly. I want to take a look at the shorter time frame here. So let's just take a look at it from a time perspective, because we've been monitoring this as a minute X wave. So what we're gonna do is project our minute zone, extend these lines, and we're gonna look for it to end somewhere around here. Now, once again, we usually like to have the corrections end somewhere in the average zone. That's just average. There's always times where it can go and deviate from the average, right? This just helps you manage expectations for when the correction is to end. Meaning, the longer it gets to the maximum zone, the more it's indicating that we're reaching an inflection point. And once it reaches that point, it's going to be a high pivot, an extreme pivot. So once this is finally completed, this area is signaling that, hey, we're going to have a pivot here. We're going to have an extreme pivot pretty shortly. It's either going to be a short-term pivot or it's going to turn into a long-term pivot. Otherwise, we're going to experience some type of momentum in price to deliver. So for right now, let's see. This is May 15th, May 16th. That's pretty much where we want to see this end, to be honest. That's where I would like to see it end. Looking at the actual structure itself, pretty much everything that we were talking about. We said pretty much if it failed to take this high, it was definitely going to take this low. And we said if it took this high, it was not going to take this low. Meaning it was just going to be A, B, C, or a W, X, Y. But we said if it didn't take that high and it continued to cascade lower, it's likely to be a flat, which is pretty much what we're experiencing right now. We got a three-way move up, three-way move down. Now we're getting an impulse up. The symbols has been really, really tricky because of how we created it from the origin. The only way to look at it is an extreme flat pattern right here, because this is basically a three-way move off the low. So either it's a three-way move off the low like that, or it's a one, an extreme A, an extreme B, and an extreme C, or two of a flat. That's the only way to really look at it. Sometimes you have to be a little bit lenient with the structure. It's a fine balance and harmony with Elliott wave. If you're too strict, you're going to miss a lot of moves. If you're too lenient, you're going to be following a lot of wrong counts and loose counts. You really have to try to find that balance. Sometimes you don't always get that fifth of the fifth of the fifth of the fifth. Sometimes you only get the 2/5 and it's done. So sometimes you just have to be aware of other factors to consider, like market structure. You know, with big changes in market structure, that's a huge indication that fifth wave is finally in. So for right now, I see this more as a flat, meaning we just completed the B the flat, and we're gonna push down more in a 5-wave move, impulsive move for a C wave. Minimally, gonna look for this zone, this 3414 and a 382. Next, we're gonna look for that equilibrium, which is gonna be stacked right with pretty much the consequent encroachment of this fair value gap, and also pretty much the exterior of this breaker as well. So this is a pretty pretty, say, this is a highly reactive zone right here to expect price to react from. Alternatively, there's another way I can see this structure forming. It's just a matter of perspective, really. When I look at this leg right here, and I look at it at the lower time frames, this is a pretty clear triangle right here, which makes it easy. Why? Because this is a clear triangle, meaning it's a wave 4. Only triangles occur in a wave 4. And if you compare this pretty much to the correction that it just occurred from, it pretty much mirrors the same time. So this looks like they're part of the same structure, meaning it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So a little bit of a different perspective. Holding this low right here is going to be key. If we hold this low and we have a mini retrace like this, we take the high aggressively, it looks like we're going to be in this right here, where this low holds, mini retrace, we start moving up aggressively, right into this daily fair value gap, coupled with the golden fib zone right here. If we attack this low, likely that we're moving down here. Nice inducement model right here. So once again, if this happens, then expect this to happen. If that happens, expect that to happen. Although there's always going to be different variations, different alternatives, different counts to observe, it's all a matter of how price develops for that structure that you're observing, that relevant structure. Once again, if this happens, we're going to expect this to happen. If that happens, we're going to expect that to happen. So it's about managing expectations, right? Always about managing expectations. That's pretty much everything that I wanted to go over for today. I don't think I really have anything else that I needed to discuss that was pressing or anything like that. So, as always, I'll keep everyone updated in Discord as price action continues to develop, and I'll keep you guys updated with some charts. As always, again, if you have any questions, feel free to message me publicly or privately. Always happy to help out. That's what I'm here for. But I hope you guys enjoy these updates. I do put a lot of time into these streams and just giving you guys quality content and also giving you information to really help monitor and maneuver the markets as it progresses, as the week unfolds. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I do this for you guys. If you do enjoy it, please leave a like. And once again, if there is an altcoin that you would like to see the next week's stream, go ahead and comment below and we'll take a look at it. But I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, and thank you so much for your time.